Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Namaste Experience. It is so good to be back here at Namaste Village with all of you. Oh, I can feel the love this morning. So strong. Can you feel that? There's a radiance, a vibrancy when people join together in a single purpose, a radiance and a vibrancy. That's why we're here. There's no other reason. I'm looking at the lesson for the day from A Course in Miracles. My holiness is my salvation. And when we realize that together, boy, oh boy, the fun starts. So today we have a little bit of a different setup here, as you can see. We're testing out a new way of doing our sessions, but we want to welcome all of you. And I also want to say that at some point during this session, whether it be someone here at Namaste Village or someone here in the Zoom room, a question is going to come into your heart. And if you're in the Zoom room, what I want you to do is to write it in the comment section, or if we have someone here, and we're going to do our satsang at the end of this session. Beautiful. And I just realized why don't you go ahead and bring up the PDF onto the screen, and we're going to share one of our, now go up to view, all the way up to the top, right there, and hit full screen, all the way at the bottom. Oh, all the way at the bottom, all the way, there you go. Yep, you missed it. We're testing new technology. One more up, right there. Okay, there we go. Okay, good job. So this is a very poetic lesson we're going to share this morning. A bench made for one. So read this with me. There is a kingdom within the heart that can neither be seen nor understood. Eyes were not made to see such detail, and the mind was not designed to understand such grandeur. But the heart itself, the resting place of the kingdom I am describing, feels that which could never be seen by human eyes and comprehends that which could never be understood by the human mind. If you want to know God, then seek out the garden where God lives. Seek out the garden where God lives. You will find the beloved there, resting beneath the branches of a great willow tree. There is a bench there that is only meant for one. Do you see how the beloved invites you to sit? Okay. Chris, can you bring the camera down? So it's not, yeah, there we go. Keep going. Keep going. There we go. But right there. Okay. There is a bench that is only made for one. Do you see how the beloved invites you to sit? Just as you sit. Good morning, Susan. Good to have you back. We are being invited to sit in that bench made for one every instant. The question is, will we follow? We are so allured by the idea of two, as if I need to sit with someone else, instead of just realizing that the all is within, the whole kingdom. In fact, this morning, I remembered a quote from the Gospel of Thomas, the sayings of Jesus, where he said, if those who lead you say, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you. It is this within experience that we seek every instant, to know that which has always been known, to feel that which could always be felt as present and whole and complete. So the question is, when we are called to sit in this bench made for one, which we all are every moment, will we answer? Will we say yes? We join here every day or 5 days a week or 6 days a week with Unity because we've said yes. And that's really the beginning and the middle and the end of the whole thing. Just say yes and show up. Be part of this holy, sacred joining. And then watch the magic unfold. So we're going to keep this simple today. But I want you to just feel the beloved sitting there beneath that willow tree, inviting you to sit on the bench made for one. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and invite Vicki if she would come on and join us. And she can take it from here. Then I'll come back in a little bit. Good morning, Vicki.
Well, good morning, Brother James. That was a very short opening act. So, oh, thank you. So, you know, the first thing that came to my mind, because I'm in a different life situation and there's a lot of activity and kids and things happening around me. And maybe this is the gift that when we have spent time in quiet, that we do get the ability to be in the midst of what looks like chaos. And sometimes, not all the time, I fall down on this. Recognize that same quiet because our minds are open to being and receiving and joining rather than thinking. And that's really where the kingdom is in that. And usually we think of it as sitting alone. And certainly that is the most traditional and the richest source of opening to presence. Simply sit, simply wherever we are, open ourselves to presence, not trying to figure it out with our minds. I think that's the single one line. This is not something physical that we can catch or think of. It's something that we can receive and be part of, be with, be part of. And of course, the other gift in silence, and this is what happens in joined meditations or joining like we do at Namaste every day for a single purpose. The purpose is to receive the truth, to be open and to recognize it and let it rise into our awareness. And then the silence of the thinking mind, of questions, of doing, of lists, just falls away as we listen to a natural harmony of grace, like Scott's song, through every open door, this river of love and light is cascading through. That's when Jesus said, if we have eyes to see and ears to hear. And this is what we are doing. We're developing eyes that are not physical, ears that are not physical, that both see and hear and can feel and rise. There's like a natural rising in our being if we're not intruding our own thinking, mostly because our thinking is full of judgments of this and that, of separation. And in the receiving mode, we're not separating things out. We're opening ourselves, opening our hearts, our arms, and our minds, not to judge, but to let in, to receive. That open door that is flooding is everywhere. The kingdom is everywhere. And when we sit quietly, wherever we are, or when two or more are joined, for me, when I meditate with a brother, 2, 3, 10, 100, thousands, that it's like a pull that pulls me in quicker into that center of presence. So it cannot be found with words. It may sometimes be found in music and songs because it is like praying twice. And in dance, when we abandon ourselves to spirit in song or in dance, it's not that the words are something that we're figuring out. They sing through us. The dances through us as our lives are meant to do. We're meant to live here by the dance of love and life flowing through us in an effortless grace. And then all we have to do is follow that quiet, that silence, and the next, like in Frozen, the next right step appears before us, or in, all the 007 and all the James Bond things, and things appear before us out of the blue, because the blue is the kingdom that is already all around us. And when we're not interfering with it, and we're open to right now, quiet in our minds that's not interfering with fixing and judging and separating out, then all that can come to us is the grace of our Creator's love. That's why many feel this in the mountains, in the ocean, wherever they stand in nature, because they're not engaging with a battle of thinking and judging different situations. They're receiving and open with wonder. When you look at the grace that pours through a mountain, the grace that pours through an ocean, the grace of the sky, wherever we are, just opening to it. There is a natural flood of what is already there, that is part of us, that we are every day recognizing more and more. And we've been talking about the ways that we stabilize in this Christ presence, in this state of mind that is our oneness. It's what you call the whole mind, and our mind that's not separating out. And when we are learning more these days than ever to join together in that, rather than using joining to separate. People collected before to go against this or go against that, or separate out from a greater thing, or ways of joining have been greater ways often of separation. But with our hearts and our minds open, every way, wherever we step in our day, is an opportunity of joining in that greater way, to listen to that heartbeat of love, because it is like a river gushing out at us, if we want to be open to it and look with the eyes that truly see and feel and resonate with and live through. And then we come into our own natural dance of grace. We are meant to live here in love, in grace, in a harmony, and a peace that passes all our ego's understanding. That's really, when Jesus said, "My peace I give to you," and this is what the charge he gave us was to give one another of this Christ peace, of this peace that is centered in that we are one. And don't worry about the appearances, the costume, or the script. None of it matters. The resonance and the experience of one love, of one being, frees us from what seems to be limits outside of us and our brothers. When we recognize and look with love, and that's today's lesson, when we look with holiness, holiness is innocence. There's no judgment in innocence. It's just a field of welcome. When all are welcome, then every situation is an opportunity to bless and to recognize that everyone is safe in the love of God, regardless of the circumstance. So, Brother James, was that enough? Are you okay from here?
We may have a short lesson today.
All right,
Okay.
I'll go on if you want.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
I really like how you talked about effortless grace. Effortless grace. Grace is always effortless. And when we're applying the effort, we're outside of that sacred space. And yet, when we join together to strengthen that sacred space, which is what we're doing here right now, it's like anything else that you practice. It's like exercising almost, that it grows and it strengthens and it stabilizes. We're here that the grace will stabilize within us, as opposed to the illusion being stabilized within us. That's what we're most used to. We're used to the dream seeming real. We're used to illusions claiming our attention. But as we join together and say we only want one thing, and that is however you describe it, the peace of God, oneness. We could say it in a different 1,000 different ways, but it really comes down to the same thing. I want the experience of who I am, of who I really am, which is love. And then the grace stabilizes within me automatically. There's nothing left to do, except perhaps to just continue to share, to continue to extend. That's why we come together in the mornings, so we can stabilize this grace. I also like how you talked about a natural rising of being. When that grace is stabilized, there is this natural rising within us. Do you feel that right now, just coming together? Something is beginning to rise. Something is lifting. Let it rise within you. We're so afraid in some strange way that this rising is going to take us away from that which we love, that which we know. But everything we love comes with us. There is that split mind within us that will think, but if I receive everything, I'm going to lose what I love. You can't lose what you love when you receive everything. Everything comes with you, especially the love, because that's who you are. Nothing more, nothing less. So this natural rising of grace within us, we join together, we extend this, we make a resolute decision that this is the only thing I want. My holiness is my salvation. That's how simple this is. A resolute decision of one. Make sense? So now, let's see if anyone has a question out there. It doesn't necessarily have to be about this particular lesson. It could be about anything that you want more clarity on. And we'll just join for a little bit longer. Anyone here at the Namaste Village have a question? Just make one up. Check the comments as well and see if there's any questions. Let's just tune in for a moment. I guess you guys already have it all. No questions are left. You are perfect. Yes.
I wake up in the morning and even though I'm enchanted by the birds and the silence and stuff, I put on like a YouTube or music, and it's like I'm afraid of the silence, but I'm very attracted to it. And I don't know if there's a question in there, but can you work with that, James?
I sure can. It's this dueling nature within us, attraction and distraction. We're constantly always attracted to that which we know to be true, the wholeness that we feel within us. Even if that wholeness, that experience of oneness seems so far off because I'm caught so much in the dream and in the illusion, still it's there, it's always there. It's the most natural part of us. And yet it's also the thing that we're most afraid of. And it keeps coming back to that thing we mentioned before, that we always want to distract ourselves. So we watch YouTube, we turn on something else, we watch a movie, we do everything we can to keep distracted from what Vicky called that natural rising of being. I remember when I was in the anchor hold over here for 6 months, in this little tiny enclosure, meaning to meditate and pray all day long. You know what I did most of the time? I think I wrote 2 books. I wrote or I recorded, I think, 3 CDs. I made an animated movie. Now, these are all very good things. Very good things. But I realized later that I was desperate to distract myself. And the way that I distract myself is by being creative, by creating wonderful things that that make me feel valuable. You see, it was the feeling of being invaluable that made me need to distract myself so that I could pump up my image. And that's always what it is. We wake up and instead of just resting in that being, that natural rising of being, we find something else to take our mind away. So I guess the question then is, what do you do when you feel that? When you feel the urge to just pop on YouTube and spend a half hour watching nonsense, maybe just hold still and just rest in that still, quiet place of effortless grace. It doesn't take any effort, but sometimes we have to pull our attention back because we forget that I'm only here for one thing. Does that help? So remember, attraction, distraction. It's like these dueling forms. We're attracted to that which we know ourselves to be, but then we distract ourselves because it's still the thing we're most afraid of. You know, I find that in relationships, the closer the relationship, the more tendency there is for difficulty and separation and trouble to arise. Distraction, once again. If it's someone that I see only once in a while, more than likely they're not going to trigger that place within me very often. But if it's a sibling, they know all the right buttons to push, right? Or if it's my partner, oh boy. The closer the relationship, the less distance there is for me to project separation. And the closer the relationship, the more I'm triggered, because it's really ultimately one relationship that I'm afraid of. And guess what relationship that is? With God. You could say even with myself, with the divine within me. That's the thing that I'm most petrified of. I won't go into the story of my daughter at the when I played Santa Claus, because you've probably all heard it before, but that was a great example. Suddenly Santa Claus pulled down the beard and said, Angela, it's just Daddy. And then all that fear vanished. She didn't have to be afraid of the image anymore or the idea. It was just Daddy. But it's only when we have the courage to stand there and to look into the eyes of the beloved. That's why I like this lesson today. Just look for the beloved where the beloved is. You'll find the beloved sitting beneath a great willow tree, pointing at a bench that is only made for one. Have a seat. Have a seat. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
This is not necessarily a question. It's just today in a transmission through Jesus that we listen to every day. And it follows like along the lessons that we've been.
You're going to have to speak up so that they can, once you come up here so they can hear you. We want the Zoom audience to be able to hear you as well.
This is just from a lesson that we listened to today. Tina Louise Spalding is a channel, and we've been following her for a number of years. She reads the lesson, and then she steps back, and Jesus comes through. And for those of you who are not familiar with channeling, you might find this a little surprising, but nevertheless, it's very valuable to us. And the last thing that he said today is fall back into the arms of love, into the arms of God. And that just resonated with me so much that I thought I'd share that. That's it.
Before you go, let me ask you a question. What is channeling to you?
Channeling is someone's ability to receive information from the higher source that's either within them. Well, it has to become within them because that's how they bring it through. So I guess we can all be channelers. I think that what happens is that we block that information from coming in. And in this case, with this person, studying the Course of Miracles for some 10 or 15 years, she was able to receive the information that I guess we are all able to receive, but we're not raising our consciousness or frequency high enough to be able to receive it. So I think everybody can channel and has the ability to do so. And it just depends on how much they're willing to get all the other stuff out of the way and have it come through.
I'm so glad that you said that it's the movement from within that we all possess, that we all have, because so often channeling is used to promote the opposite of that, a special relationship.
Mhm.
Look at this special one who can do something that none of us can do. The truth is, and this is what you were saying, is that we're all here to channel, but we're not here to channel some being outside of ourselves. We're here to channel the Holy Spirit, ultimately, because that's all it always is. It doesn't matter what voice it comes through, what package it comes through. It's always that spirit of love within us. And ultimately, as you said, it's about getting out of the way of all of those distractions that Scott was talking about, so that we can hear that still, quiet voice. And yes, there are certainly those who have done that work, hear that voice, share that voice, but the tendency so often is then to put them up on a pedestal. Look what they can do, instead of bringing it in and realize, and this is what we're all called to do. We're all called to be channels of that which is already within us.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what you were saying.
Yes. Yes.
Good.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you. Wow. I love it. It's already within. It's already here. There's nowhere you need to go. There's nothing you need to do. All we need to do is to catch ourselves when we are distracted, when we find that urge to pull away, to do something else, whether it be to watch YouTube or anything, and then just tune in, ask in that moment, what would you have me do? What would you have me say? What would you have me think? And then trust what comes to you. My holiness is my salvation. That's the highest truth we can live today. It is my salvation, and I've already been saved. And there it is. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. What a beautiful way to start our morning. Let's just tune in for a moment before we go. That holy light that's within us now. That radiance, that vibrancy that we come together to share, to extend through this sacred joining. And we say together, I am that now. Say that with me. I am that now, and forever will be, and forever will be. Amen, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Punto.
Punto.
Thanks, everybody. Have an amazing day.